Hello everybody and welcome back to Modded Adventures. Today we are in the cherry forest. Not because it's one. This episode is a little bit special. Now you may be wondering, why is that? And that is because it's a bit risky. Recently, CurseForge, like the site that I use to get all my mods from and get the launcher from, was actually hacked. And it's kind of risky. None of the mods that I used were actually affected, but you never know. They could have been gone undetected. And of course, we don't want that to happen. And that would be more of an issue last week. But they've actually said they've patched everything and everything should be good to go. However, um, you never know with these things. They could have missed something. But I'm taking the risk because none of the mods that I use or anything really too similar was affected. But that raises the question, what are we going to do today? What mod should we experiment with? What was that skillet? We should cook? Well, that makes sense. That makes more sense than talking to a skillet. Oh, but you don't want to mess with a skillet because these skillets deal a whopping 3.5 hearts of damage. I think that the only question now is where do we put the restaurant? And we're looking right at it, this little place. It may not look like the best place, but I'm sure it'll work fantastically. In the building of the restaurant, I realized that I needed red mushroom blocks. And previously I harvested mushrooms up there, but it was kind of getting a bit cluttered and it didn't look the best because I had to have a shield over wherever I was planting the dirt because you can't grow mushrooms in direct sunlight. So I decided to come down here to my stone mine and it works pretty good. And here it is, the final product of the little restaurant place that I made. So this took a while. This is design number 4, I believe that I had, and it's the only one that actually ever got walls. Not because the other ones didn't have walls, or one of them didn't, but because this took forever. Originally this was going to be a seating area, and this was going to go down more. There was going to be some fancy roofage, but just didn't work with what I had. However, I was able to finally come up with a design, and there are a few issues with it that I'm not a huge fan of, but I'm sure I'll be fine with as time goes on. So first up, we have one of our little dining areas. We have 4 dining areas, or I guess tables. Yeah, that's what they're called. With seats, you can sit down. You can look at the other person through the leaves of the cherry tree, that is. And then we have the kitchen. And there's nothing in the kitchen quite yet, but we're doing that next. And this is where they take your order. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought out the logistics of this place. I just think it looks good. They cook your food back here, and they don't take your order up here because they take your order over here. The furthest possible location from the door. Look, no one's gonna come here. But if they did, I'm sure they could come over here, talk to the person at the little desk. I forgot what it's called. Like you go into a fancy restaurant. They have you wait there for 5 hours because the waiting line is so long and they only have seating space for 7 people, which we do. Only have space for 7 people. But yeah, that's where the book would theoretically be for reservations and stuff. And here we have the lonely seat. Uh, Due to how I shaped the kitchen, there's only room for one chair. But I mean, you could technically pull one up from over here if you really wanted to take a look at the food while you wait. But currently, it's just a one-seater. So you can just look at the tree yourself and also look at whatever's going on over there. Look at what's going on in the kitchen. Maybe like a health inspector could sit there. Yeah. And then we have the 2 other seating areas, which are the exact same as the one over there, except they're over here, of course. And of course, we have the exit right here, back onto the street. Now, I wasn't really sure what to do with the roof, because with the other roofs, I can just have them tower up a few blocks and then just go completely flat, because most of them are too tall for us to see, except for that one, which actually has a roof. But this one, it's right down on your level, if you're walking along, you don't want to see a flat roof, so I decided to, put it in to the side and put a path above it. And of course, once we build something over there, probably, or over here, I'll expand the path that way. But for now, we just have to deal with this beautiful top. Now, looking at this building, there's two things you might realize. One, we're using terracotta brick instead of terracotta shingles like the rest of the buildings. And that was actually a mistake, but I do really like it, and I don't think terracotta shingles would have worked as well, because I used them in the inside as well. It's more structural because, there's going to be a path on top of it. You need it to be structural. But you may also notice we're not using oak wood, like at all, except for right over here, but that's part of this thing. Right over here. That's not part of the actual building. What's up with that? And it's mostly just because, um, oak, it's a great block, but it was kind of getting a little boring. Every single building up here kind of looks the same. I mean, it's just oak and sandstone or mushroom stem. And of course, I did put mushroom stem down in here, a little sense of familiarity. And the cherry wood isn't too far off. I mean, it is pretty far off from that, but like it still gives the same comfort feeling, If I used, let's say, birch or maple for it, it wouldn't be the same comfort feeling. But at least in my opinion, but I feel like it works. And we also used bamboo, which means besides the ceiling bit, you could actually build this entire build, also besides the shelves and the seating area. But besides that, you could build that in modern Minecraft, and it wouldn't look too different. I mean, the cherry logs are kind of different, but you could build it still. Well, here we have it. This is the kitchen, and there's not much in it. Yeah, there isn't, but I like it. I was thinking maybe up here is where we put all the things that we would theoretically sell. So let's say someone comes in here, sees, oh, they have red mushrooms. Nice. Comes over here, hey, I have a reservation. And then you go sit down and be lonely. And then when someone comes to serve you, they're like, oh yeah, I'll have some red mushrooms. And then they give you red mushrooms. Of course, why would you want red mushrooms? But that's just an example. We have our little mixing pot right here. We have our stove, which if we stand on it, actually hurts, which is incredible. It's realistic. Um, and we have the skillet, the one that told us to do all this, and our little cutting board so we can cut stuff. For example, we can put down some raw pork chop and slice it up, and I get some raw bacon. The real question is, can I throw the bacon on here to cook it? No, I don't think I can. Okay, we might actually have to put in a real furnace. I think putting it right there would work pretty well. Then we can cook up our bacon and get some real bacon. Bacon. Amazing. Let's put that up there, because now we officially sell it. Okay, now let's do something with the cooking pot. But I'm pretty sure it needs to be heated up, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it does need to be heated up, so let's put that on top of there. Oh, it has little particles. Nice. And we put that in there, and we're going to be making something very tasty. Something very tasty, which is a nice glass of apple cider. Now, supposedly this is supposed to give me a little bit of absorption for a minute, so let's see how much it gives. Okay, yeah, 2 hearts, same as a golden apple. Nice. And these can stack, and they're super easy to get. But of course, never leave things on the stove, or else your restaurant's gonna burn down. And we don't want that, we just built it. As you can see, my inventory is pretty cluttered. So what I'm thinking about doing is tearing out this back wall right here and replacing it with some spruce pantries. And we're either going to store whatever is in either of these shelves or just general ingredients, depending on the circumstances of, like what's above it, how useful it is, how much we have of it. If it's something like bacon, I'm probably not going to make too terribly much bacon. So this is probably going to be mainly storage. But if it was something like cooked pork chop, I eat those quite a lot, so I would probably dedicate an entire pantry to those. And if we do need extra storage, we have these two walls that I'm not quite sure what to do with. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. But they might just become storage, or potentially entrances to other food places. I might make like I don't know, like a connected food court area here. I'm not quite sure. I just thought about that idea. We'll see where it goes. Well, now that we have that all flattened out, it's gonna be time to end the video for today. So sad, I know, but this has taken longer than you would expect. Too many renditions, too many failed ideas, but we finally got it in the end. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.